Ray. What do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
I imagine that your life, to a large extent, will have been wasted from the viewpoint of the one who sent you over. Take possession of your mind. Aim high. Don't believe because in the past you may not have achieved much you can't achieve in the future. Don't measure your future by your past. If you do, you're sunk. A new day is coming. You're going to be born again. You're setting up a new pattern. You're in a new world. You're a new person. Well, if not, why not? I intend that every one of you shall be born again. Mentally, physically, and maybe spiritually. A new aim, a new purpose. A new realization of your own individual power. And a new realization of your own dignity as a unit of mankind. If you ask me what I believe to be the greatest sin of mankind, I bet you'd be surprised at what my answer would be. What would yours be? What do you think the greatest sin of mankind is? The greatest sin of mankind is neglect to use his greatest asset. That's the greatest sin of mankind. It's bound to be that, because if you use that greatest asset, you'll have everything you want and you'll have it in abundance. You notice I didn't say you'll have everything within reason. I said you'd have everything you want and have it in abundance. I didn't put any qualifying words in there. You're the only one that can put qualifying words in there as to what you want. You're the only one that can set up limitations for yourself. Nobody else can do it for you, unless you let them. Your major purpose, or some portion of it, should remain a few jumps ahead of you at all times, as something to which you may look forward with hope and anticipation. Now, if you ever catch up with your major purpose and attain it, then what? What are you going to do there? Get another one, of course you. And you will have learned, by having attained your first one, that you can attain a major purpose, and the chances are when you select your next one, you will make it a bigger objective than you did your first one. If your objective is to acquire material riches, well, don't aim too high for the first year. Work out a 12-month plan within reason, and watch how easily you can attain it, and then next year double it. Then next year double that. One's major purpose should keep a few jumps ahead of him. What's the purpose of that? Why not lay out a definite purpose that you can catch up with, just tomorrow, say? Well, now, obviously, if you do that, your definite major purpose is not going to be very extensive, is it? And you're not going to have the fun of pursuit. You know, the fun of pursuit is a great thing. If you found success, or if you found your objective, why, then there's no fun in it, but you have to turn around and start after something else. Life is less interesting when one has no definite purpose to be attained other than that of merely living. The hope of future achievement in connection with a major purpose is among the greatest of man's pleasures. Sorry is the man indeed who's caught up with himself and no longer has anything to do. I've found a lot of them. They're all miserable. No, you've got to keep active. Keep doing something. Keep working. Keep an objective ahead of you. One's major purpose may, and it generally does, consist of that which can be attained only by a series of day-to-day and month-to-month and year-to-year steps. Because it is something which should be so designed as to consume an entire lifetime of endeavor. It should harmonize with one's occupation, business, or profession, for each day's work should enable one to come one day nearer to the attainment of his major purpose in life. I feel sorry, indeed I feel sorry for the individual who is just working day in and day out in order to have something to eat and some clothes to wear and a place to sleep. I feel sorry for that kind of a person that has no aim beyond just enough to exist on. I can't imagine anybody in this class satisfying himself sitting down with an existence. I think you want to live. I think you want abundance. I think you want everything that's necessary for you to do the thing you want to do in life, including money. One's major purpose may, and it generally does, consist of that which can be attained only by a series of day-to-day or month-to-month steps. Now, remember that when you start in pursuit of your definite major purpose. One's major purpose may consist of many different combinations of lesser aims, such as the nature of one's occupation, which should be something of his own choice. When you come to write out your definite major purpose, you write it out like planks in a platform. Number 1, so-and-so. Number 2, so-and-so. And somewhere along there, right near the head, be sure that you include in your definite major purpose perfect harmony between yourself and your mate. You think that's important? Do you know of anything more important than that? Do you know of anything, any human relationship more important than that of a man and his wife? No, of course you don't. I'll answer that one for you. Nobody does. And have you ever heard of a relationship of man and wife where there was not harmony? Have you ever seen a thing like that? You have, huh? Yes, I'll answer that for you too. I know you have. Not pleasant, is it? Not pleasant to even be around people who are not in step with one another. Well, you can be harmonious. And there is where you ought to start applying your mastermind relationship first. Your wife or your husband should be your first mastermind ally. Maybe you'll have to go back and court him or her over again, but all right, that's nice too. I don't know of anything I ever did in my life that I enjoyed as much as courting. It's a wonderful experience. Go back and court the gal over again. Or the man. It's a wonderful experience. Or if you're not on the right kind of terms with your business associate or your fellow worker or the people you work with every day, go back and rededicate yourself to the business of striking out on a new basis. You'll be surprised at what a little confession on your part will do. Wonderful thing. The confession is really a marvelous thing. Most people claim they have too much pride to confess their weaknesses. I'll tell you, it's a good thing to get some of your weaknesses out of your system by confession. Acknowledge that maybe you're not perfect, or well nigh perfect, but not entirely perfect. Maybe the other fellow say, well, come to think about it, neither am I. And then you're off to the races. Rededicate yourself to a better relationship with the people that you come into contact every day, whoever they may be. What a wonderful thing it is. You can do that. You can handle it. You can handle it. I know you can. You know, most of these inharmonies in human relations is due to the neglect of people. You just neglect to build up your human relations. You could do it if you wanted to do it. And the budgeting of income and expenses so as to provide for the accumulation of a definite amount for old age and security, the security of loved ones and so forth. And the budgeting of time so as to provide whatever income that is necessary to support one's plan for the attainment of a definite major purpose. That should be a part of your definite major purpose. Write out your platform of life and include that down under these minor purposes the things that are related to your major purpose, the things that you're going to have to get in the step-by-step movement up toward your major purpose. And a definite plan for developing harmony in all of your relations, and especially these, in the home where one works, where one plays or relaxes. The human relationship plank is the most important one in connection with one's major aim, since the aim is attainable very largely through the cooperation of others. Has you ever thought of that the things that you do in life, if they're worthwhile, have to be done through harmonious cooperation with other people? And how are you going to get that harmonious cooperation if you don't cultivate people? If you don't understand them, if you don't make allowances for their weaknesses? Did you ever have a friend that appreciated your trying to reform him or change his mind about something? Do you like to have a friend come around and try to reform you? No, you don't. Nobody does. But there are certain things you can do for a friend by example. That's a mighty effective way of doing it. But start in to tell a man where he's wrong, and chances are that he'll have business around the corner. The next time he sees you coming, he'll get on the other side of the street. In your human relations, you can develop a marvelous relationship, but you can't do it by criticizing people, harping upon their faults, because we all have faults. A better thing to do is to talk about a person's virtues and his good qualities. And I have never seen a person yet so lowly that he didn't have some good qualities. And if you'll concentrate upon those good qualities, that person on whom you're concentrating will go out of his way and lean over backwards to make sure that you're not disappointed. One should not hesitate to choose a major aim which may be for the time being out of his reach, for one may always prepare himself to attain pretty much any desired purpose in life. Certainly when I chose as my definite major purpose the organizing and taking to the world of the first practical philosophy of individual achievement, it was a way beyond my reach. And what do you think it was that kept me down through 20 years of unproductive effort of research? What do you think it was that kept me striving and struggling in face of the fact that the majority of people I knew were criticizing me? What do you think it was? I had to have an abundance of faith, and I had to keep that faith alive by moving always as if I knew in advance that I was going to complete the task that Mr. Carnegie assigned to me. There were times when it looked as if what my friends and relatives were saying about me was absolutely true, and in a sense it was, that I was wasting my time. From their viewpoint and their measuring stick and their standards, I was wasting 20 years of my time. But from the viewpoint of the millions of people who have benefited and will benefit by my work during those 20 years, I was not wasting my time. You can't fail unless you think you can. If you think you can fail, then you can. If you stay around me long enough, I'll get you so you're not going to think you can fail. You'll know you're not going to fail. Our greatest demonstration of the universal application of the principle of definiteness of purpose may be seen by observing how nature applies it as follows. And there is a great string of applications, the way nature moves with definiteness of purpose. And ladies and gentlemen, if there is anything in this universe that's definite, it's the laws of nature. They don't deviate, they don't temporize, they don't subside. You can't go around them, you can't avoid them. And however you can, learn their nature and adjust yourself to them and benefit by them. Nobody ever heard of the law of gravitation being suspended, not even for one fraction of a second. It never has been done and never will be. Because nature's whole setup throughout the whole universe, system of universes perhaps, is so definite that everything moves with precision like clockwork. And if you want an example of the necessity of an individual's moving with definiteness, you only have to have a smattering of understanding of the sciences to see the way that nature does things, and then you'll have that example. The orderliness of the universe and the interrelation of all of the natural laws, the fixation of all of the stars and planets in immovable relationship to one another. Isn't it a marvelous thing to know that the astronomers can sit down and with a pencil and a few pieces of paper predetermine hundreds of years in advance the exact relationship of given planets and stars, right where they'll be with relationship to one another, in advance. And you know they couldn't do that if there was not a purpose, a plan under which we're working. We want to find out what that purpose is as it relates to us as individuals. That's why you're in this course. That's why I'm teaching you. I'm giving you that little bit that I've picked up from life and from the experiences of men and from my own experience, so that you will learn how to adjust yourself to the laws of nature in order that you may use those laws instead of allowing yourself to be abused by your neglect in using them. To me, one of the most horrible things to contemplate is the possible cessation of natural laws. Imagine all of the chaos, all of the stars and planets running together, why they'd make the H-bomb look like a firecracker if nature allowed her laws to be suspended. But she doesn't do that. She has very definite laws to go by. And you'll find that if you check these 17 principles, they check perfectly with all of the laws of nature. If you get over to that principle of going the extra mile, you'll find that nature is profound in her application of the principle of going the extra mile. When she produces blooms on the trees, she doesn't produce just enough to fill the tree. She produces enough to take care of all of the damages of the winds and the storms. When she produces fish in the sea, she doesn't just produce enough to perpetuate the fish. She produces enough to feed the bullfrogs and the snakes and the alligators and all the other things that still have enough left to carry out her purpose. She has an abundance of things, overabundance. And also, forces man to go the extra mile, or else he'll perish. He would perish in one season if he didn't go the extra mile.